day across 4 different places. I'm streaming on YouTube, I'm streaming on my profile, I'm streaming in my group, and I'm streaming on my page. And I do have the ability to stream on Insta as well, but I want to give that a bit of a test solo on its own before I add it to the master blast. Let's call it a master blast. Please say hello when you come on. And as I'm using Ecamm Live so you can see, and when you post your comments in there, I'm not going to know who it is that's posting the comments unless you just allow Ecamm to show your name. So it'd be really awesome if you did that so I can know who is here. I checked my Voxer app this morning, which is where I chat with my clients, and one of my clients sent a message and it was so cool. She said, I was manifesting you to do a journaling course just when you went live and spoke about it, and I'm really happy about that. So people that have been in my community for a long time know that I'm all about journaling. I've been journaling since I was probably 10 years of age or something like that, and I reckon I've journaled pretty much almost every day of my life since then. And back then it was Dear Diary, you know, back in the early days, but journaling is such a powerful tool in my life, and I know it's a powerful tool in the lives of many of you, but sometimes we get stuck about, you know, with how to journal and to really get into the zone. So that's what today's about. I'm going to share with you my journaling process, which is bigger than a journaling process. So I'm going to, that was me. So that's Bianca, even though it just says Facebook user, I'm assuming that's you, B. So yeah, I'm going to share with you my journaling process. As I say, it's bigger than just journaling, and I'm going to share the entire thing with you. And then I'm going to also share with you some strategies for getting unstuck. So if you can't really get into the journaling zone. And, you know, there are two energies around journaling, I guess. I want to start there. And one is when you really feel like you are in the zone. When I'm in the zone like that and the writing's just flowing so easily, I just carry my journal everywhere with me. So if I'm driving, for example, to the gym and I'm waiting for my trainer, I'll pull my journal out and I'll journal a little bit more. And it'll just throughout the day, I'll just keep adding to it. And it just opens up so many doors and opportunities. And I'll tell you why in a minute. And then there's the other journaling where you're writing and you feel like this is not doing anything for me. This is frustrating. I can't get into the flow. I don't feel like I'm in the zone with this thing. And it can feel like pulling nose hairs. And those are the days, unfortunately, when you need to journal the most, probably. And so they're the days when, sometimes we'll just go through the motions and it's okay. So what I want you to know about those days, because if we look at journaling, right, if we look at journaling as a tool for growth and expansion, and because I'm a business coach and I work with people who own coaching businesses, I want you to put it in that context. But if you're not in that space, then obviously whatever works for you, whatever context you want to hold it in. But for example, if you imagine that you made a commitment to journal every day for 365 days, it becomes a habit. And even those bad days, those days where you feel like, it was like pulling teeth just trying to get half a page written, you'll know when you look back that even those days moved the needle for you because it kept your goals in focus. So the reasons why I journal are because, and why most people journal, I guess, I've got so many notes. Look at that, all handwritten, because that's how I do my best brainstorming and mapping things out. So why I journal is it always keeps the end in mind. And we know that whenever we want to create something huge and magical in our lives, we need to be really strongly tied to the vision. Our daily actions need to be tied to something. Otherwise, we get bored or we become undisciplined or we just tell ourselves these things don't matter or whatever. But when we journal every day and we journal about, what it is that we're trying to achieve, it helps us to keep the end in mind. It helps to remind us why we're going to get up that day, why we're going to do the things that we do in our day, because they're tied to this thing, right? Nobody likes to waste time and energy on things that aren't really relevant, right? Unless it's deliberate, where you just want to take a couple of hours to kick back. And so we want to know that the things that we're doing are aligned with our goals, our bigger vision. And that's the second thing. Daily journaling keeps us aligned and focused on our vision. It keeps us close to it. You would be surprised at how many times people write down goals, big goals. In the early days, I remember when people would start working with me, and back in the day, I would do coaching packages. I'm talking 15, 20 years ago, where people would come and coach with me once a month sort of thing. And it didn't work because they just weren't tied to the goal, and they'd kind of forget what it is that they were trying to achieve, or the passion and the energy for it just wasn't there. It had dropped off, and they weren't doing that daily work to plug into what it is that they tried to achieve. It inspires daily action towards our goals, because when we're there and we're thinking, oh my God, that's right, this is what I'm working towards. And, you can be jotting down all the things that you've noticed that tell you that you're on track and things like that. And then we just become a vibrational match for all the things that we want to happen in our lives. So, for me, when I talk about journaling, it's just one of the principles that we can apply when we're trying to leverage the law of attraction, right? It's one of these things that just keeps us in that vibrational state, feeling focused, excited, and expanded, and really closely tied to the goal, to the vision, as though it's happening. And finally, it just inspires belief and trust that what you're doing is working and that you are making progress, which is super, super important. I belong to a couple of groups, and one of them is all around money. And one of the women in the group posted a couple of days ago, I think it was, where she said, I'm here and I want to be at multi-millions, I want to generate multi-millions over the next 12 months. And she said, so the people of you in this group that have done that, can you tell me, what did it take? What did you do? And without fail, every answer from those people that had really smashed those figures, they all said mindset, every single one of them. And I've known that my whole life, that our mindset dictates what we achieve and what we don't achieve. But it was really interesting. Honestly, there was not one that did not mention mindset. And so for me, journaling is a way to really tap into the mindset that we want to be able to hold and live by, so that it keeps us, keeps our mind controlled and focused on where we want it to go. The last thing that we want to do is let our thoughts run rampant, untethered, and, going off in that negativity ditch that we can often stay in. And so, when we journal every day and we're really intentional about it, what that means is we are intentionally, consciously, deliberately choosing the way that we think. We are deliberately, consciously, and deliberately and consciously focused on the things that we do and the thoughts that we have. And when we have control over that stuff in our day, and you string those days together, amazing things can happen. We know that magic can happen in business. We know that things can turn around so quickly, or they can explode quickly. Things might be amazing for you right now, and you just don't know what that next level looks like. And journaling every day is going to help you to tap into that. All right, so I'm going to share with you my journaling process. So when I create a journaling kind of process, I change it up. I do journal every day, but it looks different at different times, because I think when we fall into the habit of doing the same thing in exactly the same way over and over and over again, we just fall into autopilot, really, and it doesn't have the same impact. So what I do is my journaling practice usually works around blocks, and that's the only way I can describe it. And when I think of a block, it's almost like this is where I take myself somewhere fancy, or make sure the house is spotlessly clean and I'm really enjoying my environment, and I usually sit there with a glass of champagne and I start to dream, and I start to think about, what do I really want? Not what do I believe is possible, or what do I believe can happen based on last week. It's like I let myself dream about what is possible. And I've been doing this long enough now, and I've been in this space long enough now to know that there are no limits. And I used to not believe that, but these days I really am believing in that. And so when I create a kind of block, this is my process. The first thing I do is I drill down and get clear. And sometimes what that takes is for me to write out a list of what are all the things I'm not willing to tolerate anymore? What are the things that are pissing me off? What are the things that are, I'm just not available for anymore? Like all the things that I don't want in my life. And so it might be, no, I'm not even going to go into it because there's a million things, right? But it's a really good jumping off point for me. My brain works really well like that. If you tell me to sit down and say, what do you want? Like anything in the world, what do you want? I'm straight away, it's like, I don't know. I don't know what I want. Even though I knew yesterday and I've known, all along, but ask me to sit down and write it down. It's like, I just don't friggin' know, right? I don't know. And so if I start with all the things that I'm fed up with, all the things that I'm no longer willing to accept, I'm no longer willing to be available for, things that I'm just done with, that is a really good jumping off place to start. So you can start there, right? So all the things that are shitting you, all the rest of it, go through that. And then when you've done that, just think, now, what do I want? Like, what do I really want? And something just shifts for me, and I hope it does for you when you really get rid of, it fires you up thinking about all the shit you don't want to deal with in your life anymore. And then it's like, what do I want? What's possible for me? And then you're able to start to really dream about it. And where do I find inspiration? So, I am lucky in that I've created so many amazing experiences in my life. And one of the things that inspires me the most is going back through my old photos and going back through my old vision boards and things like that. And it's like, wow, I made these things happen. I remember when, this was just a pipe dream in my life. And so I go back and I find inspiration there. And then sometimes I'll go back through old journals at the start of the years and look at, what was I trying to achieve back then? What were the goals? And it's like, oh my God, yeah, I achieved that, or I forgot about that. That obviously wasn't important then, but it's really important now. And so I just draw inspiration from wherever that needs to be. But often it comes from my own, an element of my own life. But if I think back before that, before I'd created the amazing things that I've created in my life, I don't know, I think I've always been able to tap into just what I want. I'll tell you a funny story. I remember I think I was in high school, so I must have been maybe 12 or something like that. And we never had any money growing up. And my mum and my stepdad were together by this stage. So she'd left my abusive father, which was awesome. And so we were living with my stepdad. And I remember the house. I thought the house was amazing. But looking back now, it wasn't that great. But there was this bedroom, and I'm the oldest, so I went down and it had a double bed. And I'm like, oh my God, I want this bedroom. And it had a little chest of drawers there and with a mirror on it. And I'm like, this is my bedroom. And the thing with the bedroom, though, was you had to get to the back door, you had to walk through my bedroom to get to the back door. And then it must have been a lounge room or something. I can't even remember, but it was massive. And it was really the thing that I fell in love with. It was so white and bright and light. It had lots of sunshine coming in. And I can remember one day my mum and my dad walking through, they must have been heading out to the backyard, and they thought I was asleep, and I was like starfish across the bed. And the reason I was starfish across the bed was because there were springs in the mattress that used to stab me. So I used to have to try and lie in this weird position so that I wouldn't get stabbed by the springs, but I wasn't giving up that bed because it was double and it just made the bedroom look amazing. And I remember my dad walking past and saying to my mum, would you have a look at her? She's always, he said something along the lines of, God, I hope she marries a millionaire because have a look at her. She's like a, princess. And I remember just thinking, I'm lying like this because the freaking springs are digging into my body or whatever it was. And I also remember thinking at that time, I'm not going to marry a millionaire. I'm going to become one, and I was young back then and I had no reason to believe that I could be or any of those things because we lived in, we didn't have money and money was always an issue in our home. But I can remember being in that bed and having my journal and just dreaming big. That space really inspired some big dreaming for me because my environment is so important to me. You can see in the background, I like things to be a certain way. I like things to be pretty and all those sorts of things, because my environment really inspires me. So my vision board is about to fall off the wall. I can hear it. Anyway, so yeah, I get really clear about what I want, and that's what I want you to do as well. So draw inspiration from wherever you need to, but dream big, because remember, when we're creating this vision, if we set, and I've done this myself, we set goals that are kind of, believable, then what happens is we aren't excited by them. We're not inspired by them. As much as we feel like we want to play it. Can you hear that? I ran out of blue tack, so I just dumped it up there with sticky tape, which is really wrong. I know I shouldn't have done that, but so it's coming down. So I'm going to have to go buy some blue tack or whatever it is. So if you hear a crash, my vision board must have wanted me to talk about it. That's not a sign from the universe saying I can't have it, by the way. That is a sign that I need to dream bigger, because that's what I was just talking about. Let's just call it that. All right, so yeah, whatever you need to do to get into that vision, but dream big and make sure you're stretching yourself. You don't want to be worried. You don't want to be worried at all about the how this is going to happen. You just need to know what you want, And there's probably a bit of a crossover between me talking about journaling and law of attraction, but it's all the same thing for me. All right, so the first thing is I get clear about that stuff. The next thing that I do is when it's starting to come together for me, the next thing that I do is I start to write out my vision in the form of a future letter. So what that is, and I did my last one on New Year's Eve, which is why I love to spend New Year's Eve on my own. So I grabbed it, and I usually write it out and then I type it out because I just want it in my brain. And so I write a journal entry a year from now. So for example, on the 31st of the 12th, 2020, I wrote the date at the top of the page, the 31st of the 12th, 2021, and then I spoke about the year that was and how amazing it was and all of the amazing things that happened. And, I spoke about achieving my goals, and I delved a little bit into, it was so crazy. This thing happened and I didn't know where it was coming from. I didn't think it was going to happen, but there it was. And so I write out that future letter, as I say, that's 12 months down the track. And then what I do is I write a perfect day. So I write my perfect day in that life as though it's already happened. So then I write, it's the 1st of the 1st, 2022 or whatever. And oh my God, this is going to be the best day. The first thing that I need to do is need to book my flights to wherever. And then I'm going to go and have lunch with such and such. And, the house looks amazing. And this is, I just created this amazing space in our new house and blah, 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 right? So you write down your perfect day. And can you see what we're doing? We're layering, and really getting this vision vivid. When I do this, my heart rate is up. I can feel the excitement in my body, and that's what I'm aiming for. I want to feel all the feels. And then from there, I spend, probably half an hour just playing in my mind. So I go and I lay down, usually on the couch, and I close my eyes and I visualize this. I create a scene that I'm going to visualize over and over and over and over again. And so it might be of the dream day, my perfect day, or it might be of one of the things that happens in that year, the future letter journal entry, but it basically hits all the high notes. So it's a vision that hits all the high notes. So I remember one time it was me walking onto the business class flight and then arriving in LA and having the driver drive me to this amazing place in Beverly Hills and all the rest of it. And that was a day that I had. That was a reality. I remember another day that I visualized like that. And I had that day when I launched my first $25,000 or $27,500 mastermind. And the day that I showed up, that was an in-person mastermind once a month for 12 months. And I turned up that day. And as I got to the venue, it hit me that I'd lived that exact day, because I remember journaling about how I ran on my treadmill first and I did my journaling and I did this and had this amazing outfit on, and then I arrived at this venue and I got there and I'm like, holy fuck, I remember that this was the vision. I'm having the day. And so I did a YouTube video of that, where I cried on the internet. It's still on my YouTube channel, but that was an incredible day, and that's the power of visualization. And so what I want to do, it takes half an hour for me because I'm a details person, right? And I'm like, well, but that can't happen because but I'm going to be wearing this outfit, and so I have to fuck around a little bit, going backwards and forwards until I have the precise visioning moment that I want to visualize that's locked in from there on. And then, so it might have taken me half an hour to get to it that one time, which, let's be honest, it's not hard work, is it? It's fun. Then the visualization takes me maybe 5 minutes every day, 5 minutes, because it's drilled in, it's locked in. But I've found that I have to do the work of getting to the scene that I want to visualize. And it takes a little while for me because I'm ridiculous. That's why. It might only take you 5 minutes. And so that's what I do, right? That's what I call creating that block. And it's like, I've got my future letter, I've got my perfect day, I've created the vision in my mind that I'm going to picture. And then it's all about applying it to my daily journaling practice. And my daily journaling practice is I read my vision or future letter. I don't read both. I don't need to. And some days I don't need to read either. I just need to read the first paragraph. And it's like I'm off and racing. I don't even need to read the whole thing because I know what it looks like. And then I will spend those, 3, 4, 5 minutes visualizing. So I'm doing this in bed, get up, make a coffee, go back with my laptop. And this is when I'm doing this. Then I'll close my eyes. I'll do the visualization. And I feel it, like my body is responding. Like my heart rate is up. I'm twitching because I'm anxious and I'm impatient to bring it to life. And so you can bet the next thing that I do is I write. And so now I want to talk about the writing side of things. So the writing is, the first thing that I do is a brain dump. It's like mind chatter is going on, so I just get it all out. And I do that journaling in my Day One app, which I have on my laptop. So it's a new entry every single day. Brain dump. Then I write out my goals. There are 7 goals that I plan to achieve in this year. Big goal. Some of them are huge and some of them are not so big. But these are the things that I'm focused on every single day for the next 365 days. So I list those goals out, and then I'm looking at that. And can you imagine where my energy is by this stage? I had somebody in my feed the other day say, thank you so much, Michelle, for your energy. I don't know, like, your energy is amazing. I don't know where you get the energy from, and this is where it comes from doing this stuff. So then I list the goals, and then I set my intentions for the day. So I'm setting intentions around how do I want to show up. And, I have a tendency to be really serious. And last year I was really fucking serious all year. I was like, serious woman. Everything was serious. And it's like, oh my God, I forgot I need to have some fun in my life. And I like to have fun, And so, listing intentions about how I want to show up, how I want to be in that day. I list like the things that I want to call in. I want to call in, for example, some applications for my mentorship program, or I want to call in, whatever it is, whatever my focus is at the time. It's like, what do I want to happen today? And I'll tell you something interesting about that. And then I create a list of the inspired action that I want to take based on all of that. There are a couple of things I called in, and I wasn't even super, like this has to happen. It was just going to be a nice to have. It was 2 things. And one was, I thought, would it be really nice if people started to share the screen, share my stuff on Insta, because I'm putting a lot more work into Insta. I'm in my stories a little bit more. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice to see people start to share my stuff on Insta? And I'm not shitting you. Within like 6 minutes, someone had shared, one of my posts. And it's somebody that's got like 35,000 followers or something like that. And she liked it and followed me on her personal profile as well as her business. And it's like, that is so cool. I don't even know this person, and suddenly they're sharing my stuff. And that was the thing that I called in. And I cannot remember the other thing. What was it? I was just journaling on it this morning. But it was 2 things like that, where it was like, oh, wouldn't that be nice? And it was like, it happened. And it's like, oh, I've got to start doing a little bit more of that. That's going to bug me, don't you? Till I figure it out. It's all right. I'm moving on. All right. So then, yeah, so that's what it comes down to, right? We start with the end in mind, big vision, like we create it all in one day, usually. So go somewhere fancy, do whatever you need to do to feel like you're in a really high vibe state, and then do the stuff that I spoke about. And then the daily journaling practice is that it's read your letter, or, read whatever it is that you vision, visualize it for a few minutes and write it down. Now, on the visualization, I say that I visualize the same scene. I do for a long time when it's locked in, and then I start to do variations of, so that 12-month future letter thing that I do, there might be 27 different scenes in that, right? So once I've got that main one locked in, I'll start to go off on, variations of that, or adding to that, or, creating a scene around a different area. And it might take me half an hour to get that down again, but it's so worth it. It's so worth it, because when you can see it, feel it, it's all happening. All right. So then after I do all of that, and I've got my list of action that I want to take that I know for sure is going to help me move the needle, then I take action. So, I'm usually, by the time I finish this, it's like, I'll tell you what, that's why my hair, I washed it today, but that's why my hair never gets washed, because, well, it does. It gets washed about twice a week, but I sweat every day. But it's like, I just want to go, right? And so I jump out of bed and I jump in the shower, and it's like, I can't be bothered washing my hair because I've got to dive in and do the things. And that's the energy that I go about my day with, which is really cool. So then it's about taking action. And so right now, you might have heard me talk about this, but I created a little thing for myself that I used to use years ago with my fitness clients when I had my online fitness stuff. But I made a commitment to move the needle on 3 particular areas of my life every single day. I had to make progress every single day, not one backwards step. So the progress didn't have to be huge. I just had to move the needle. And so I created this, I don't know if you can see it. Oh my God. This is not in mirror, or it is in mirror, but it's, so the mind, so I know that, like, my mindset is where it's at. It's the most important thing. So I have to, do all these things every single day just to make sure. And the reason that I'm making this a daily thing, even though I do it every day, is it's more about with intention, deliberately, consciously, intentionally doing these things. The next one is body and face. My skin, I'm really lucky that I have, I'm 52 in March, and my skin is pretty good. Good diet, all the rest of it, injectables for sure, but I take really shit care of my actual skin. So I do the usual, this is so boring for some of you, but I'm on a roll. So I do the cleanse, moisturize, and all the rest of it, but I always forget to exfoliate. I always forget to I can't be bothered putting a mask on because I can't sit there that long, like all that stuff. So I'm being really conscious. My injectable lady, she's amazing, but every time I go there, she's like, your skin is so dry. I'm like, how can it be dry? Like, I put all the things on it, I drink all the water, I eat all the oils, like, what the hell? And she's like, I don't know, it's just really dry. And it shits me. And what she's saying is, because I sweat every day and I get back, and sometimes I don't always jump straight in the shower because I want to get stuck into something. She said, that's drying it out. So I've got to, whenever I get home from the gym, I've got to do my freaking face again, which is so boring, and things like that. So that's important. And for me, the body thing is, I'm on a mission to, be pain-free, entirely pain-free. And I want my body to be able to move in a certain way and look a certain way and all that sort of stuff. And I do have a tendency to be all or nothing. It's like it is game on, or I can't be bothered. And I've never been like that, apart from last year. Normally I'm really consistent in that area of my life. But yeah, like last year, 2020, we know about 2020, and it's like just consistency. So I made a commitment. It's consistency is my word for this year. And the last one is business. And so they're the 3 areas. And as I say, I just want to be consistent and do something every day in my business. So last year, there are so many days when I didn't do a thing. And I'm lucky that my business is set up in a way that it still supports me, even when I'm a slack ass. But it's like, no, I've been at a plateau for the last couple of years and I'm ready to smash it. And so what that means is I must do something every single day. And today I'm doing this, right? So I can mark that off the list. I've usually marked, move the needle on each of these things by 10 a.m. most of the time, which is awesome. And then I've got this other book, which is just a notebook. And every day I write down the things that I did in each area. So efficient. Day one, for example, mind. Day one, so I list all the areas and then I just list out the things that I do. And I want to keep a track of 365 days of forward movement. And that helps me to make so many decisions, right? So that helps me decide that no, you don't need to have 3 glasses of wine on a Wednesday evening just because you can, because that means I don't get to move the needle, right? We know about COVID wine, don't we? So, so it's like it just helps me to make those decisions so easy because I know that it's a commitment that I have, that I am moving the needle every single day. And then I write down what I did, just really short notes. 12 months from now, I'm not even going to freaking remember half of what I wrote because it's like hieroglyphics if you've ever seen my handwriting. But I want to basically keep a record of what 365 days of progress looks like, because what I know for sure is that some of those days are going to be the smallest things, right? The smallest things, and they feel like they don't matter. But I know from past experience, and I know from any time that I've had, massive momentum and amazing things that happen in my life, it's because I did things consistently every single day, something. I moved the needle every single day. And then, things just take off. And so I want to have a record of that. So I would invite you to do the same thing. So how I did the sheet is just, I put the months down and then I put, wrote for mind, for example, and then I just used the arrow key and went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, to 31 or whatever it is. And then body, face, and then I did that. And then I just cut and pasted that section for every, changed the date and, got rid of an arrow if it was a 30-day month or whatever. And then I'm just using a lovely little pink sparkly pen and I'm just colouring in the arrow and I'm going to put a line next to every week because otherwise I'll have to just keep counting every day. So that's that. So I would invite you to do that and make it a mission for you to be consistent. So it doesn't have to be the same 3 things. So maybe you want to be consistent in social media and you know that social media is one of the things that you haven't been doing and you know you need to do it. And so you have a 365-day social media thing. Maybe it's specific for you. Maybe it's like you want to drink 2 liters of water and go for a walk every single day. That's your commitment to yourself. Write that down, whatever it needs to be. You can have 10 things on that list if you want to. I just didn't want to overwhelm myself. I wanted to keep it really, really simple, and I know what each of those mean. But I also wanted to make it really easy for me to succeed, right? So I've got rules around each one. So the mind one, for example, is, I just want to be intentional. I want to create an intentional direction for my thoughts to flow on in that day. And I've made a commitment that I'm not thinking backwards. I'm not thinking about, what a lazy ass I was in 2020 or anything like that. I'm not, that's done. Consistency is so important, Sharon, for sure. And so for me, it's about, I know what the mind stuff means. I don't need to write every little detail. I don't need to write, make sure you journal every day, make sure you vision every day, make sure you do all this. I know what that means for me. So I want to make it easy. And then the body face thing, it's like I just need to, I don't know, freaking exfoliate a couple of times a week or something. I'm still working that out, but I use my roller, been using my roller every day and things like that. So just consciously taking it up a notch with my skincare and also just training every day, making sure that I eat exactly the way that I know fuels my body well and makes me feel good. And I'm sitting within a certain calorie range that I know I need to be in if I want to drop some body fat. So, but I'm not saying you can or can't have a glass of wine. I'm not saying you can or can't have a piece of chocolate. It's like as long as you fit within this criteria, which is like if it fits your macros, then that is okay. Instead of me trying to be little Miss fucking Polly Perfect and then, not being able to sustain it because I'm a rebel as well. It's like, it's hell being me sometimes. And then the business stuff is, I've got certain business goals for this year and certain business goals for this month and certain business goals for this week. And I know what they are. And it's like, I know what I need to do to move the needle on it. And if I just do one thing that I feel is a really intentional, deliberate, conscious effort and not just a tick in the friggin' box on something, then I know that I can move the needle on that. And so we are at what's the day today? The 8th. So I can tick the mind one, I can tick the business one, I'll tick the body face one after I have done my workout. It's a no-brainer about my nutrition because I'm just not wavering from that. So I'll be able to tick that off. And sometimes I tick that off early in the day so that to reinforce that you are going to stick to it. I was even eating ice cream. I never eat ice cream. Dave is like an ice cream fiend. He always has it in the fridge. And it's like, I don't get the whole ice cream thing. And then one day I was like, could do with something sweet. And I ate like half the thing of ice cream. And I'm like, oh, now I get it. And it's like, I wish I didn't get it. And so I was eating ice cream a couple of times, probably like 3 or 4 times a week. And I never do that. So yeah, anyway, things turned to shit in 2020 as far as, me really taking care of myself the way that I normally do, but feeling really good because and even towards the end of the year, I knew where I was taking it in 2021. I knew I'd already put things in place, like the trainer that I am working with now and things like that. Just worked out with my nutrition what works and what didn't. And it's like, cool, I did all that figuring out in the last month or so of the year. And when it kicks over to the first, this is the way that I'm going to operate. And it's been really easy and it's been fun and all the rest of it. So anyway, that's all I've got to say, really, other than just, no. I've got some extra stuff. I nearly forgot about the second page. All right, so if you're feeling stuck, right, around your journaling, there's different things that I do. And one of them is called Do the Numbers. And so what I love about with doing the numbers is things like, for example, I'm filling my mentorship program at the moment. Sharon just came on yesterday. So I'm so excited to have her as part of the program. We're going to do some amazing work. So there are now 3 spots filled on that program and I take 8 coaches. So when I'm doing the numbers, what I think about is definitely I'm conscious about the type of coaches that I want to call in, the type of results that I want to get for them and all of that sort of stuff. But this is kind of separate to that. This is purely about me and my, like the money numbers. So if I feel like, and not just like my mentorship program, but other things that I launch, usually I do this at the start of the year and it helps me to set my goals. So I go, right, if I had 8 people and they're all paying this much, then that means this. And then I look at the number, I'm like, that's a pretty good number. And if I have, 2 private clients, it's like, yeah, that's a pretty cool number. And then that's great, Sharon. And then I go, okay, and then what if I did this? And then I'm looking at those numbers, which is great. Like numbers are good, but they don't excite me. And then I think about, what am I going to be able to do? What am I going to be able to invest in? What is my life going to be like when when this is happening and all the rest of it? And I do this for every launch. And so I start to play around with the numbers. And then I get excited by the numbers because of what the numbers mean and all that sort of stuff. So I encourage you to do that. So, a lot of coaches that I work with, when they especially come on with me, they have a figure that they want to earn for the month or for the, they're like, I want to do $20,000 months, for example. I'm like, cool. How many coaching packages do you need to sell? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, how do you not freaking know that? Like, when coaches work with me, we work off $5,000 coaching packages at the beginning. And so that's just, they know they need to sell 4. We keep it super, super simple. Or they need to sell 2 because their goal is $10,000 a month or whatever. So I want you to play with the numbers and think about, wow, if I charged, $5,000 a coaching package and I could sell 4 packages a month, that's $20,000 a month. That's, $240,000 a year, is it? I suck with maths. Yeah, it's $240,000 a year. Imagine what I can do with that. And then I want you to really dream about what you can do with that. Write a list of all the things you're going to buy. Write a list of all the places that you're going to go. Write a list of all the donations that you'll make, the things that you can invest in. Like, get fucking excited about the numbers and always come back to the numbers. So then when you feel like, For example, like I am launching my mentorship program for a long time. Normally I don't do a launch over this time. I started talking about it, I think, mid-December, and we don't start till the 1st of February. And so when part of me goes, and I made a commitment to myself, the only thing you're selling in January is your mentorship. There is nothing else, other than my digital courses sell through my funnels and stuff, but it's like I'm not selling any other programs. And as I was getting ready to do this, pull this workshop together a couple of days ago, it's like, oh, I could run a 5-day, like really shot in the arm injection kind of program where I can really get them excited and fired up. And I'm like, you could, but you made a commitment that you're not selling anything with fucking mentorship. And it's like, okay. And it was really hard not to pull together an offer and run something for 5 days, because I know that not everybody is going to have the courage to invest in something like my 6-month mentorship program, but it's like, no, you made a commitment. And so that made it really easy for me. And so when I get a bit, I want to launch something else, or if I get a bit, well, what if I don't make the numbers or whatever? It's like, that's not what we focus on. We focus on what these numbers mean, what that's going to give you, et cetera, et cetera. And as I say, that's separate from, knowing the humans that I'm working with and the work we're going to do and me being excited about them. Like that's just a given for me. But playing around with those numbers just gets me in the vibe of, instead of saying to myself, oh, do not do another live stream today and talk about that fucking thing because they're going to be so sick of it. It's just like, well, you made a commitment, girlfriend, so you just better go on and talk about it, whether you feel like it or not, right? And so it just helps me to really bed down the excitement and my commitment to the thing that I'm launching or selling at the time. So I really encourage you to play with those numbers and get excited about them, because, the law of attraction states, right, that we just need to know what we want and become a vibrational match for it, and we don't need to know the how. And I do believe that in theory, but my little brain needs to make a connection between how this is going to happen. So how I satisfy myself with that is I do the numbers and I play around with the numbers. And sometimes I'll rip it up and I'll throw it away and go, oh, all I need to know is it's possible through my business to do this. But I'm open to it being a whole other way, and I'm open to it coming from somewhere else. Hey, maybe someone will buy me a lotto ticket. Who the fuck knows, right? But I love to do the numbers to just know in myself that my business will support those numbers, because that's the most likely place that my money is going to come from, right? Unless I've got a, mega rich, great aunt that I don't know about who's about to kick the bucket somewhere in Ireland, and, who knows? Like, who knows? The other thing that I do when I'm feeling stuck is the gratitude thing, right? And when we're feeling stuck, when we're feeling in like deep scarcity and things like that, which I know a lot of people are in that space, and I've been there, and it's fucking hard to do the gratitude thing, but it's critical. It's so important. And so for me, I remember back in the day when, I was a single mum, I had 2 little kids at home, I had a baby on my own, because I left their father and then found out I was pregnant. He was of no help whatsoever financially. He actually contributed to making it more difficult for me. And I still found things to be grateful for. I have the kids, more time. My house is really clean today. Or I went and picked some flowers when I was down the street. And even though they weren't my favorite flowers because I couldn't afford to buy them, they were still I still had flowers in the house. And I just found ways to be grateful. And these days, I'm able to look around and go, girlfriend, you have got everything you need at your fingertips to do whatever the fuck you want in the world. Remember the time when you didn't. And so things like that, right? Or there are people that I know in my community, or friends that I've had in the past, or friends that I have right now, for example, and I see them struggling in a certain area, and just remind myself that, you've really got a lot to be grateful for, because look at how much they're struggling, for example. So gratitude and perspective, I guess, is the thing. So finding perspective, right, in things. And a great thing to do, and I talk to my kids about this all the time. My son is a stress head, and I'm like, mate, is this going to matter in a month? He's like, no. I'm like, well, don't worry about it now. Is it going to matter 3 years from now, 12 months from now, 6 months from now? If it's not, then don't give it time. This too shall pass. Remember, that's my catchphrase for everything. This too shall pass. So always remember to put things in perspective. It might feel like life or death, but most of the time it isn't. And we just have to ask ourselves that magic question. Is this going to matter 3 months from now? Is this going to matter a month from now? And if the answer is no, then just move the hell on. The other thing that you can do when you're feeling stuck is to play the if game. So what if it all worked out? What if you did the numbers and it all worked out exactly as you wanted it to? Like, what the fuck would that look like? How would that feel? What would be different? What if you just couldn't fuck it up? What if you just tried 100 different things and, you can't fuck it up. Like, everything that you do, either directly or indirectly, gets you to where you want to be, right? So there are no mistakes, there are no accidents, there is no fucking it up. You can't do the wrong thing, because all roads, if you are hell-bent on reaching the thing that you want to reach, then there is no road that is going to be wrong. You know what I mean? It's all going to get you there, directly or indirectly. Another one. What if you were right all along? So I love this one. So what I mean by what if you were right all along, every single one of you has a vision for what you think is possible for you. You've probably quit on yourself or told yourself it's not possible, all the things, right? But deep down, there's something in you that knows what it knows, what it knows, what it knows, and it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere, no matter how many times you fail or go backwards or whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter how many times, because you just know what you know, what you know. And what if you were right all along and this is the thing that's supposed to happen for you? What if that's true? What if the dream that you had was right? You were right all along. You were right to want it. You were right to dream about it. It was not put there for no reason, right? It was put there because it is possible for you. All right, so that's the play the what if game. And there's a whole lot of what if games. There's a whole lot of what ifs, right? But we don't want to play the what if game that we all play that is just a waste of time, which is what if I fuck it up? What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? What if I don't make the money back? What if? Like, that is a downward spiral that we don't want to go on. We want to go on that upward spiral. So use the what if game to spiral up, not down. Another one is the higher self one. So this is where you tap into your wisdom and guidance. It's very easy for us to want to look around us for the answers to things. But I find, for me, when I need to make big decisions and set big goals, it's always about cutting the noise out, like not looking at what anybody else is doing, not paying attention to anything else or anyone else other than what I know. And it's tapping into that place of, looking at yourself and asking yourself, what would my wiser self tell myself? What would my higher self say? What would myself 20 years from now, who has all the things and has done all the things, what would she say to me? What would she be telling me? What advice would she be giving me? And go there. Like, you have the answers within you. Sometimes they're difficult to draw out if you're not used to doing that. But for the most part, the issue is usually not that you don't know how to get there. Usually it's that you haven't cut the distraction out, or you've just lost faith in yourself to make those right decisions. Or when you tap into the wisdom and you get it, it's not that you don't find the wisdom, it's that you don't follow through, or you don't feel safe enough to follow through, or you worried about fear, or, all that stuff. If none of this mattered. Oh, yeah. And another thing you can ask yourself is, what if none of this mattered? Like, what about if where you are right now, if it's not in a great place, what if none of that mattered, right? What if your bank account didn't matter? What if the car you drove didn't matter? What if all those friggin' last 6 failed launches didn't matter? What if none of that mattered? What would you know? What would you do now if none of that mattered? I could make more words up around that, but I think you get what I mean. So what I want to say to you is, as you know, I'm streaming across a number of different places as I do this, but inside my group, the group is Become a High Ticket Coach. If you go to the Units tab, there's a journaling program inside there. And if I don't want to confuse you, but under the Units tab, there's a journaling program. And in the notes in there somewhere is a link to another journaling program that I created, which was the first ever journaling program that I created, which was amazing. So it's there and it's free. So go and access that. I was thinking I would just create a page of journaling prompts for you guys. Let me know if you want me to do that, but I really feel like that program is sitting there and it's free. So I would rather you go and do that, because it was a program that I called Journal Your Way Rich, Fit and Famous Online. And each day I spoke about journaling in those particular areas of your life. And then when I did the follow-up journaling program, I was in Florida, and oh my God, I normally fly Melbourne to LA, and I never get jet lag going there. I never get jet lag coming home. I fly business, so I get to sleep and all that sort of stuff. So I never have any issues. This time I flew business, but I flew Qatar Air, and it took me from Melbourne to Doha, then Doha to Miami, and then I had to, get a car from Miami down to Hollywood, Florida. It was a long trip. And I got there and jet lag just got me. And then I got sick as well, and I never get sick. And I remember just thinking, I'll just do one night's sleep and then I'll be fine. I couldn't sleep. I'd fall asleep at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I wake up at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it shitted me so much because I'm the sort of person that's awake really early in the morning, and I just couldn't get my feet underneath me. So if when you see that second journaling program, that's the one that's sitting under the Units tab. If you think the lights are on, but that, like, what is going on? That's what was going on. I was sick. I had, hell. I had, yeah, jet lag from hell, and I was trying to get better because I was over there for Grant Cardone's 10X Growth Con. I had a week there before the Growth Con happened, and I was sick every day I was there. I was like on death's door. It was so awful. So yeah, anyway, it's the only trip that's ever happened on. But yeah, so those programs are sitting there waiting for you right now if you want them. And it would be remiss of me not to mention my high ticket coaching mastermind mentorship program. I'm going to just give you a quick spill about that before I jump off, because it's enrolling right now. So what that program is, it's a 6-month mentorship. So I take 8 coaches, and it's a combination of me working with you privately. So we have one-on-one session every month. I use the Voxer app with my clients. It's open on my desktop all day. So we're just chatting backwards and forwards all day. Sometimes there's one client in particular, every morning I'm like, how are you going today? And I just get in there and I'm like, don't remember you are the motherfucking magic, or whatever it is my thing that I have to say to her. And I go in there and I just like prep her up every day, because I know she really thrives on that. So I love doing that. So the Voxer app's open all day, every day, and, during the week. And so you have access to me there. And then we have some group stuff. So it's a group of 8 coaches, and it's an incredible program. So there are modules set out. The program doesn't always run, with the pace of the modules for the clients that are in it, because, for example, I've got 3 people signed up right now, and I'm working with those clients now. And if you sign up like today or tomorrow, for example, you're going to have all of January with me as well. So you'll get the full 6 months of the program plus now. Because what I'm doing with those clients is I'm helping them to package something up so that they can start to sell it now, so that before we officially start on the 1st of February, they've already made a sale. So I'm taking the program's $2,500 a month US, but I'm taking a deposit now of $500, and that way we can work together for the rest of January, and hopefully you'll get a sale in that time. If you're willing to do the work that I ask you to do, you'll make a sale between that time, and then you'll know how to do that all the way through the program. My intention for the mentorship program is that I teach you everything that I know, but more than anything else, I want to teach you how I think, so that you can think the same way and go about things. So this whole process that I've just shared with you is kind of tip of the iceberg, right? My clients, I will say to them, something will come up and I'm like, I need you to go journal on this, or I will give them 3 or 4 journaling prompts. I'm like, go journal around that. And, to help them shift through something or to help them, unlock something that they can't see yet or whatever. So I use the journaling stuff with my clients all the time. So, yeah, as I say, the program goes for 6 months and we work through modules. Loosely, how it goes is the first month is about getting your ducks in a row. So I help you to work out what is your coaching sweet spot. Like, what is the coaching that you are going to do that has incredible impact, that feels really easy for you, and also solves a problem in the market. So I help you get clear about what you're selling, who you are and what your strengths are, what it is that you're selling. We package it up so that you can sell it. And then we get really clear on who is the perfect person for this particular package. And so we do all that in month 1. And that means bringing websites up to speed. It means, getting all of your social pages ready to go and stuff like that. So that's all month 1. It's package it up, get you selling it. Month 2 is about, we really hit social media hard. And I have you doing a challenge where every single day for 30 days, you've got to show off on social media, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Facebook, whatever it is, you get to, we work together to work out where are the people going to be. And so that's where you're going to be, basically. And so we work out the strategy for that. And then, so month 2 is about really sharing your message and setting yourself up as an authority figure online. That's what month 2 is about. And the reason we do that in month 2 is when we move on to month 3, that's where we start to work on the automated lead generation stuff. And sometimes there's a bit of a shift when you've got to go. So we set everything up in month 1. And then you maybe have started to work with a client or whatever it is. And then you get into month 2 and you start sharing your message, and you might go, you know what? I don't think it's this. I think I'm really, usually you're 90% of the way there, but there's usually doing the content every day helps you drop into an even tighter niche. So you might be doing something that feels like, I'm going to have you niche anyway, but it might feel a little bit general within that niche. And the more you show up with the messaging, you might go, you know what? For example, I don't know, say you're a business coach, and then you go, you know what I'm really finding is I just freaking love talking about visibility. I really love helping coaches to be more visible, to be more confident, to be more visible, and how to make visibility. It's like, well, suddenly you're a visibility coach. Yay, that's awesome. That's even better. And so then when we go into the lead generate, the automating the lead generation stuff, we know that when we start to put paid traffic to your campaigns, because we've built out a lead magnet and things like that, you've had a couple of months of, figuring it out until you drop into that you'll get close to your sweet spot in the first month, but something about that content really just drops you into, oh my God, this is the thing. And then from there, we do the lead generation thing. And then there are other 3 modules where I teach you how to speak and sell from stage. I've done that here and in the US, where I've spoken in front of rooms of like 150, and I've also run smaller workshops that I've then on-sold people into bigger programs. So I want to, for those of you that want to get up and speak on stage or run workshops and things like that, I teach you how to do all of that. Not just how to deliver the content, but also how to create campaigns to fill those events and things like that. We also do a module on mastermind. So maybe you've got an idea for a mastermind that you want to create for yourself, a high-level inner circle or mastermind program. Teach you how to do that. And then the other one I think is retreats. There's one more though. I can't think off the top of my head, but if you, I can't drop the link because I'm kind of live everywhere, but if you go to my website, michellehex.com, and you, on the home page, you'll see there's a slider, and become a high ticket coach mentorship is the slide, one of the sliders. Click on that, and that will take you to the program information. And then from there, you'll see the information, and then there's an application form. So you'll fill out the application form, and then I'm going to be in touch with you. As soon as I see that come through, I'm going to read through it. And if I think you're going to be a really good fit and that we are going to work well together and I know that I can help you, we're going to jump on a quick call so I can have that conversation with you and just make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into, because I'm going to push you pretty hard, and, just really get a feel for you and a sense for your ability to, implement the things that I'm going to ask you to implement. And if that all works, then I'll send you a sign-up page. It will be a $500 deposit. I will give you a couple of my programs to dive into straight away. So probably the Startup Coach Success Accelerator and the 5K Formula for Coaches. I want you working through those programs now so that we can be going backwards and forwards on Voxer to get that package created so that you can start selling. And so we'll have that little pocket of time between now and the 1st of Feb to do some work together unofficially, because we don't really officially start till the 1st. And then your first payment will be on the 1st of February. And if you think that that's going to be the thing for you, then head to that page and fill out the application form. There are no strings. What I found really interesting, when I look at the stats on that application form, for every 100 people that start the application, one person finishes it, which is crazy to me. So it's like they get partway through it and then they freak out. Like they freak out about, I don't know what it is. So if you're one of those people who have gone, oh, I'm too scared or whatever, just fill out the goddamn application form. It's not a gun to your head saying you have to sign up, but it means let's just have a conversation about it and see if this is going to be a good fit for you. As you know, I speak to people when I'm on these calls. It's not in my interest to take anybody onto this program that I think is going to fail and not make money. Nobody is going onto that program to donate to the Michelle Hicks Fund. It's there to be a return on investment. It's there for you to invest in yourself, invest in your business, and get me to help you to get where you want to go faster. But you're not meant to work out how you're going to pay for 6 months. Your job is to work out how you're going to pay for month 1, right? And then from there, it's my job to help you to make sure that you're making those sales every month. So don't be thinking about, oh my God, how am I going to pay for 6 months of a program? Because that's not what is going to happen. It's like, how do I pay for the first month? Because then it's my job to help you to make that money back. All right. I love the program. I love working in it. I love the results. I love the way that people go through that program. They come to me and they're confused, a little bit overwhelmed. They're not really making any headway. They're not making the money that they want to make. And what I love is I can see how clearly I can whip them into shape with a bit of guidance, because sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. And so then what happens is, you know, they start there, and at the end of the program, like one of my girls, Nicole, ran her first webinar yesterday, and she accidentally enrolled like 20 people. She didn't even know where they came from. And then she had she had 40, I think, signed up to the webinar, not through any paid traffic or anything like that. And she had 13 show up. I didn't want to tell her the stats of how many people show up when you run a webinar, because, you know, I've had clients that have had 60 people registered and like one person I've done that. And so she had 13 people show up, and people want to work, you know, want to have conversations with her about working with her. And plus she's put together the replay so she can send it out, because a lot of people watch replays. A lot of people watch this replay. So now she knows how to do the thing. Like when she first started, her business was all bricks and mortar, face to face. She hadn't done the online business thing. And now she's doing webinars. She's whipping up a sales page every time she needs one. She knows how to build out her website and do all the things that she needed to do. She never knew how to do that stuff. She paid someone and was paying someone to work on her other website. But through that program, I taught her how to do those things. So it's not just about learning how to package and sell your coaching packages. It's about being really savvy and being able to do the things. Being really agile, I think, is important. And when I say agile, what I mean is, if you want to create an offer, you know how to write that copy. You know how to create the sales page. You know how to get it ready for people to apply or buy now or whatever it is, and you can get that offer out into the world. I'll look it over. You can go backwards and forwards with me, but you know how to do it. And I love that. Because they're the skills that I felt I was lacking. I remember watching all of the other coaches kind of doing things in my space. I'm like, how do they do that opt-in thing? And how do they do this thing? And how do they get their website to do that? And, in the early days, I didn't have the money to invest in things like that. And so I just never got anywhere because I didn't know how to implement these things that other people were doing on the tech side of things. And I know tech overwhelm's a big thing. And Nicole is gorgeous and lovely. She's like a bull in a china shop with the tech stuff sometimes. So she's like, you know, she just goes hell for leather and she figures it out, right? And I love that about her. But she was a complete tech newbie, didn't know how to do anything. And now she knows how to do so much. And I love that because I know that that's going to serve her well beyond our time together. And that's what I want. So the process of the mentorship is to really get you in a place over 6 months of just feeling bulletproof and really knowing that you can be successful. You're not just selling coaching packages, but we work on scale. That was the other module. It was create your group program or digital course so that you have those automated sales coming in. So that's the other module. So yeah, it's not just about packaging. Like packaging is the first part and selling that is the first part, but then it's over that 6 months, there's a view to scale. We want you scaling that business so that you're not reliant on one-on-one clients, although they're great and they're always, you know, really lucrative and all that sort of stuff. My going rate for one-on-one coaching is $6,000 US a month. So the mentorship at 2.5 a month is freaking bargain. Should be more expensive, but it's not for now. So now is the time to jump on. So go to the page, enroll, or shoot me a message. If you can't find the page or anything like that, just shoot me a message or let me know, hey, I just want to jump on a call. We can do that. I did that yesterday with Sharon, and she is now part of the community, part of the mentorship, which is exciting because I'm excited with the work we're going to do. Anyway, that is it. I've got to go because I've got to go meet with my trainer, and there's traffic because the Westgate Bridge is shut, I think. So it's going to take me 45 minutes instead of 22 minutes. I'm very precise with my driving times. Anyway, I've got to go. Thank you so much for those of you that are still here at the very end. To do a webinar is on my vision board as a goal. I'm like, yes, awesome, awesome, fantastic. All right, I got to go. It throws me when I can't see names. Like I can see the comments and it's like, I feel weird because I don't know who's saying what, but it's all good. When I get off and I've been to the gym and I can come back, I'll be able to have a look at who said what. But if you're watching the replay, I hope you're enjoying it. Get into this practice. It changed my life. And every year I become more intentional with it. This year is going to be massive because I've revamped this whole thing and my enthusiasm for it and my excitement for it is just every day I'm tapped into it. And I know it's early in the year yet, but I just know based on my experience that this is going to be a massive year and this is all going to be a part of it. So throw yourself into it, enjoy. If you've got any questions, ask on whatever platform you're on. And I can't wait to see what you make happen in 2021. If you want me to be your mentor, reach out because I would love to help you get there faster. All right, much love. Bye.